Hello, so this is the day 2 coursework. I think this is day 1. We talked about this last time. This is day 2. This class was supposed to be over reading to become a writer. The teacher did start with a slightly altered agenda, but I wasn't writing notes at that point, so I missed it, so it's slightly different. But basically we had a reading from Colette. I've never heard of her before this, but she kind of has this like really beautiful, like once upon a time fairy tale writing style. And the first exercise that we did was analysis of the literature by Colette. And the point is that there's a lot of ellipses in her work, so you kind of co-create the story. And it was kind of like representation and creation of life. There's a child who critiques children's literature, and this is the teacher, and the teacher was like, steps are not logical in literary fiction. Everyone has their own structure. And then there was a little bit of a discussion on how creativity is developed. He was talking about people watching, and there's this dwarf that he saw, and he was like, small person, big emotion. And then he was inspired by people watching, so I decided to do some people watching in the class itself. This is the girl who's sitting in front of me. She has a really good upmarket contemporary romance voice, and I was like, okay, what can I do to her that would make her existence into a story? And I was like, what if she was in like Squid Game, and because she's new to writing and like she doesn't have like a lot of published work, so I was like, what if she has to write a bestseller like right now? Like, she would panic, right? And then the teacher was talking about how if you are not, like if you're stuck, just walk or sleep. And then he was talking about the creativity stew. You leave stuff behind. Some things need to cook, and then it'd be yummy. And it was nice. And then there's kind of some got a little bit off track. I didn't understand what was going on at all. And then there was some stuff on documentary and news political stuff. And then there's like a mini critique session for the next time. And then they were talking about Bangalore tech bros, which I've never heard of that. So I was kind of like, this guy is apparently supposed to be a Bangalore tech bro. And I was like imagining him like plucking the petals off a flower and being like, yeah, I'm a tech bro. No, I'm a tech bro. Yeah, and I was like, he was like very confused, and he kept rubbing his hair, and like at the beginning his hair was like very neat, and then towards the end it was like sticking up everywhere. But yeah, he does look like a tech bro though. But yeah, it was well, okay, let me show you the Colette stick here. It's called Dialogues for One Voice Literature, and there's some really great, like you can see the ellipses here, and it's just like, you know, French stuff, and they're kind of talking about love, and they're talking about getting old and being old women, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, kind of how passion isn't really practical long term just because it fades, and like mistresses and love, which I mean, I'm not in love right now, so I was like, I don't know, it was very like story-ish, and I really liked it. I love how the ellipses, like, they're so cool, and like everyone's interpretation of the story was completely different, whereas it's like, this is one of my favorite lines, like, grotesque, are you sure? Grotesque is prettier. And I was like, grotesque, I love this word. But yeah, it was really interesting. I really like this author, and maybe once I finished my 45 book TBR, I can kind of update my collection with like a Colette book. Like, I love her writing style. It's so beautiful. It reminds me of like when I was reading 101 Dalmatians, or when I was reading I think there's some French books that Hayao Miyazaki uses when he's creating his Ghibli films. And I think it's Howl's Moving Castle. I don't remember, but there's a certain book that I read, and it was like very much that, like, the Japanese literature that I really enjoy that is inspired by this. And I was like, wow, I have seen the derivative before the derivative before the derivative, and I've seen something that's really cool. And this is kind of like, this author Colette is like, she's very well known. She has some books as well, and I hope I could get some of her books hopefully at a used book sale or online. Probably the used book sale. I think it would be better to read this kind of stuff in person, so I'm looking for some used Colette books. And overall, it wasn't the most eventful class. It's not like I really learned. I was exposed to a lot of things, which I'm really happy about. Like, I'm really glad that I was exposed to this author Colette, and I'm also really happy that I got, like, my critique. There's gonna be some critique and editing stuff, which I'm really happy about. And I did also write a story in my lecture theater, which was about, like, a finger ghost, like the ghost of a finger of a girl who got proposed to, and then she got dumped and she turned into a ghost, and she was like, I use my finger to push things off a table because it's creepy. And also, like, there's this, like, coffee metaphor, which not from this, but from day one, I kind of based it off of the metaphors. The story has this huge metaphor that, like, the coffee spill slowly gets contaminated with blood, and it turns black and, like, gross, as, like, the lady turns into a ghost. But yeah, I don't know. It was mixed bag yesterday. Hopefully today will be more literature